Good evening, all of you. Welcome to the Thursday webinar series of IEEE Malabar subsection. So, as all of you know, this is the 14th webinar in this series. Today, we have an excellent speaker, Professor Rajkumar Pant from IIT Bombay. This is not merely a webinar. This is actually an interactive session. So, Professor Rajkumar Pant is going to talk on a very important topic, and this is an interactive session, and at the end of this session he will be giving a practical demonstration of a technique which will help us to remove the anxieties in our mind and make our mind calm. So on behalf of IEEE Malabar subsection, I express our sincere gratitude to Professor Rajkumar for agreeing to talk to us. In fact, he has agreed to give us one more talk, that is on flipped classrooms, which we will be scheduling for faculty members of various engineering colleges and NIT in North Kerala. So that we will be having in the coming days according to his convenience. So I'm handing over to Deena for introducing Professor Rajkumar and telling briefing the participants about the rules of this particular interactive session. Over to Deena.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, eminent dignitaries, participants, and all of you present here for this enthralling webinar on handling uncertainty and anxiety due to COVID-19, organized by Malabar Subsection in association with IEEE Malabar Hub. Uncertainty is all around us, never more so than today. The current COVID-19 pandemic has heightened uncertainty over finance, relationships, and of course, our physical and mental health. This fear and uncertainty can leave us feeling stressed, anxious, and powerless over the direction of our life. It can drain us emotionally and trap us in a downward, endless spiral of what-ifs. Yet, as human beings, we crave for security. How do we handle uncertainty and anxiety due to COVID-19? Let us find out in this very interactive session led by Professor Rajkumar S. Pant, who has been teaching at IIT Bombay for more than 3 decades. He has also spent his valuable time as distinguished visiting researcher at ITA Brazil and has been a faculty member at NTU Singapore and Virginia Tech USA. He is an esteemed member of our tech fraternity and has many brilliant accolades to his name. Without further ado, let me invite Professor Rajkumar S. Pant to head the session.
Hello, a very good evening to everyone present. Thank you so much for your very kind invitation and a very nice introduction. As was mentioned, this is not a lecture, this is not a webinar. This is basically an interaction session. And the whole idea of this session is to try and understand a problem or a situation which all of us are facing, including you and me and everybody. And that is COVID-19. So let us start off, first of all, by asking you a very standard question which is floating around nowadays. What exactly is a pandemic? So the system we will follow here is that anyone can actually unmute themselves, or maybe you can just raise your hands and the organizers can unmute you by mentioning your name. And then you can start speaking. We will follow a decorum so that it doesn't become very chaotic, okay? So anyone can raise their hands and then the organizers will maybe unmute them by mentioning their name. So can somebody help me to start the discussion by defining what is meant by a pandemic?
Sir, may I?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, a pandemic means it's spreading from one place to another place. Like the COVID pandemic means it is spreading from one country to another country.
Okay. So if there is a disease or anything that spreads from one country to another country, shall we call it as a pandemic? No, I think it has to be more than that. So still the question is open. What you say is right, but not completely right. It is still not complete. there is something more required for something to become a pandemic. So anybody else can add to what she said?
Sir, may I?
Yes, please.
A pandemic is a disease or something which which affects the people life very effectively. It changes the life.
Okay, so something that affects people and changes the life is a pandemic. No, that is not correct. It has to be more than that. What you say is right. A pandemic affects the life, but for something to qualify as a pandemic, something more is needed. Yes, the question is still open. Anybody else? Okay, let me try and answer. So there is a person here called Nomanuddin. Can you unmute yourself and please define a pandemic?
Hello.
Yes, Nomanuddin.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, absolutely audible.
Pandemic which affect more than 75% of the world.
Oh, okay. So for something to qualify as a pandemic, it has to affect a large part of the world. In fact, it should be something that is prevalent over the whole country or the world. Now, friends, the reason why I asked this person, Nomanuddin, to mute himself and speak is because he is the person actually responsible behind this lecture, because the first lecture of this type was given by me at his institute on the 16th of May this year. Okay, so thank you, Nomanuddin, for making this thing happen. And just like it is the 14th webinar of the Malabar session of IEEE, for me, this is the 18th such lecture which I have given all over the country at various institutes. So a disease, a pandemic that is prevalent all over the world. And then I have another question. This question you need not answer. You just have to think about it, because I'm going to address this question in the next slide. Shall we have a look as whether this particular pandemic, is it really the worst pandemic that we have ever seen? Or, you know, there have been many pandemics. So if you go ahead, there is a slide which shows the history of pandemics. We as humans throughout history have been exposed to various types of infectious diseases. And the size of the blob that you see in this particular image, that size is in proportion to the number of people which are affected by this pandemic. So we see that the first major pandemic in recent history, which had a death toll of 5 million people and affected around 200 million people, was the Antonine Plague. And then the first big one is the Black Death or the bubonic plague, which took place in 1347 to 1351, in which 200 million people were killed. 200 million people were dead. Then we had the next one was smallpox, which killed 56 million people. Then cholera, 1 million people. Recently, there was this big blob called Spanish flu, which killed 40 to 50 million people. 5 crore people were killed. Okay. And then HIV AIDS, 25 to 35 million people. In this entire landscape, where is COVID-19? On the bottom. As of nearly about 10 days ago, COVID-19 had killed 810,000 people. Okay. Globally, the number of people affected was 810,000. People who lost their lives was. So, in comparison to these very big blobs, our COVID-19 blob is large, but it is still, not very large. It's there. Let's look at the death toll more carefully. So the biggest killer has been the bubonic plague in 1347 to 51. It wiped out the entire population of London city at that time. And then smallpox, Spanish flu, Justinian plague, HIV AIDS, etc., etc., etc. Where is COVID-19? COVID-19 is somewhere here in the bottom, as on 24th of August. So it is bad, but it is not the worst, and humanity has seen much worse things and recovered. So we should not really be so much worried. But in India, the way in which COVID-19 has grown is actually quite phenomenal. This graph was last updated on 28th of August. We see that there were almost 0 cases till about 10th March or so. Very few cases. And then it started shooting up. Somewhere in mid-April, it started becoming more and more and more and more. And now it has crossed, approximately 3.5 million. This is the cumulative cases. But now if you look at the daily cases, we are now adding 70, 75,000, 80,000 cases a day. But that is mainly because we are doing more testing now. Today, we are the world's largest testing per day country, which is a very commendable thing. So up to March, I would say 12th or 13th, or even you can say, yeah, around 15th March, hardly any cases per day, very small. And then it began rising, and then shooting up, right? But then let's sit back and ponder, okay, what is the worst outcome of COVID-19? Let us look at it one by one. The first problem of COVID-19 is that there are so many deaths. We all know. Almost everybody knows some relative, some friend, some neighbor, or someone who has succumbed to COVID-19. Because of death, lockdown was imposed by the government because the government was not prepared for such a issue. It was something which caught the whole world unprepared. Although there were warnings about it, Bill Gates gave a warning in 2015, but nobody listened to him. And therefore, to buy some time. Now, lockdowns are never going to cure the pandemic. Lockdowns only allow you to buy time to bolster up your resources. Because of the lockdown and the deaths, there have been a massive hit to the global economy. I don't have to talk about numbers. Just recently, India's GDP numbers have been released. Now, that entire GDP release is not because of COVID-19, as someone is trying to point out, but a substantial part of it is because of COVID-19. The global economy hit has led to job losses. Again, we always know of someone or the other who has lost their job or taken a huge salary cut. Till a few days ago, maybe about a month ago or so, there was also a problem that people were stuck. They were at a location where they did not want to be, away from their loved ones and near ones. And they were not able to go to their home, etc. So therefore, they were stuck. And initially, a lot of people had a lot of fun because they were watching Netflix, Amazon Prime movies, relaxing, sleeping till late, and then they got bored. All of us finally got bored with this, what to do, because it was completely a clueless situation. So what happened is, an outcome of all these things, the main problem is there is uncertainty about when will it end. There is uncertainty about how will it go away, when will it go away. And there is a problem. We are worried about when will this end, and nobody has a fixed answer. More important question that all of us are facing is, when it ends, what will be my future? Students who are about to graduate are worried about their jobs, about the admissions to higher studies, about what will they do. People who have lost their family members or loved ones or friends are concerned about, will it spread to my family, and will there be deaths in my family? Will I survive, for example? There are many people who are worried about that. So this is the main problem. Now, I want to make a very bold statement. This statement is a very bold statement. I want to make a statement that, at least as far as you are concerned, you, the person who is listening to today's interactive session, I want to ask you a question. Should COVID-19 really bother you? And I'll tell you why I'm saying it. Because thank God you are not on a ventilator, unlike so many of our countrymen and people all over the world. Secondly, you are also safe at home. You are not on the roads like so many of our people were. You are not hungry. You are not thirsty. you have food on your table, you have water and you have beverages to drink whenever you want them. You have access to a phone. So if you get bored, if you get anxious, if you get frustrated, you can pick up the phone and talk to a friend, talk to a relative, talk to your loved ones, and you can share your frustration and anger. Imagine if you did not have access to phone or food, or you were on the road, or worse still, if you are in the hospital on the ventilator fighting for your life. These people should be bothered about COVID-19, not you. Okay. God forbid if something happens to you and you contract this particular virus, no problem. You can physically isolate yourself either in your own house, or maybe in a hospital nearby, or maybe some government appointed locality. Okay. So you are not that unfortunate that there is no place. Imagine a family which has got 10 people living in one single room, and now somebody contracts COVID. Now, how do they isolate themselves? Even if they want to isolate, they are not able to isolate because they don't have place to isolate. There is no place to isolate. And finally, since you are able to take part in this particular session, you have power, you have internet. You may not have continuous power. You may have very, very finicky internet, but as of today, as of now, you are able to take part. So therefore, definitely you are, not like those unfortunate people. So with all these things in mind, I would like to make a very bold statement that you have actually no reason to worry. See, you don't have any reason to worry, honestly. Okay. These people have reason to worry, the ones who are facing all these 6 problems. Okay. But still, the reality is that you still are worrying. I'm sure you are worrying because that is why you attended this particular session. If you were not having anxiety and uncertainty, and if you were not worried, why would you come for this webinar? So therefore, your basic question is how to stop worrying. The answer is, if you want to stop worrying, you have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you look at things. And that is what we are going to very briefly look at today. Okay, friends, enough of my discussion. Now I'm going to take you through a very interesting question. Everybody today is concerned about how will they be able to handle the uncertain future. And we want to make ourselves future proof. That means whatever is there in the future, whatever type of jobs are there, whatever is required, whatever is needed, we should be able to acquire that skill right now. We should use the lockdown and this particular period to make ourselves future proof. So to do that, friends, you have 2 options. Now, let me give you a very hypothetical scenario. Imagine you are going on a highway in your car, and it's a very smooth highway. Everything is very comfortable. You are having fuel. Your car is working properly. You have nice music in the car. You are enjoying your life. There is less traffic, no tension. And now suddenly you come forward to a Y junction. Okay, you come to a Y junction. That means you are at a junction. There is a left turn and then there is a right turn, and you must take one of these 2 turns. Now, when we come to a road like this in our life, what do? Is we read the signpost or we look at the Google Maps and we say, I want to go to Thrissur, so I should take a right turn. I want to go to this place, so I should take the left turn. Like that, I take a decision based on information on Google Maps or the signboard. So let me show you some signboards. Friends, if you take a left turn on this road, there is a board which says, welcome to Equip Highway. And when you take a right turn on the road, you have a board saying, welcome to Enrich Highway. You have to take one of these 2 roads. Either you have to equip yourself or you have to enrich yourself. Now you will ask me, what is meant by equip? What is meant by enrich? So you do some enquiries. You ask some people and say, okay, if I go left turn on Equip Highway, what will happen? So they say, oh, if you go on the left side, you are going to upskill yourself. And if you go on the right side instead, you are going to upgrade yourself. Then you say, Arey, now we have two new words, upskill and upgrade. What is upskill? What is upgrade? So then you probe further, you do some Google search, you do some Google map study, and then you come to know that on the upskill highway, you are basically going to learn some new tools. And also, once you learn some new tools, you are also going to learn some new tricks on how to use those tools better or how to use the new tools. But if you take a right turn and go on the Enrich highway where you will be upgrading yourself, you are going to learn how to control your mind. But controlling the mind alone is not at all sufficient, because in history we have many examples of people who had a fantastic control on their mind, but they used it to create devastation and misery for other people and also for themselves. I can think of two examples, friends. The first example that I get is of Adolf Hitler in Germany, who had a fantastic control on the mind, but he used it to kill the Jews or to, cause havoc in the entire world. Nearby in India, we had an example of Shri Nathuram Godse, another very disciplined person. If you read his biography or if you read about him, you will realize that Nathuram Godse was a very, very disciplined person. He had a fantastic control on his mind. But what did he use his mind for? He used his mind for murdering Mahatma Gandhi, killing Mahatma Gandhi. So therefore, it's not enough to have mind control. It is important not only to control the mind, but also to purify the mind, so that the controlled mind is not used for doing any negative or bad things. So you have two options in front of you, friends. You can either take a left turn and go on the Equip highway to upskill yourself with new tools and new tricks. You can take a right turn to go to the Enrich highway to upgrade yourself and go for mind control and mind purification. Now I have the first fundamental question to ask you. And this is the place where I'm going to now take a break, and I'm going to ask you to tell me, will you take a left turn on Equip highway or right turn on the Enrich highway, and also why? Remember, the aim is to make yourself future proof. So friends, the floor is now open. I would request you to start telling me. You can unmute yourself one by one and start speaking. So let's see who goes first. Remember, only one choice. You cannot say, I want to travel on both the roads. You cannot do that. You must decide to go left turn or right turn.
I would like to say.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
yes.
I would like to take the Enrich pathway.
Enrich pathway.
Yes.
Why is that, ma'am?
Why? Because that is the that's because it is, I can get upgrade my mind control and mind purification. Once the mind is in control, I can achieve anything, and then getting into Equip is not at all a big problem. That's my way.
Okay, so that is your logic. Okay, this is a democracy, so people have a choice. I respect your choice, but let me open it to other people.
Yes, sir.
Future proof is our aim. Our aim is future proof. So please go ahead, tell me. Anybody else?
Sir, we have some answers in the comment section.
So can you please help me, because if I go out of this, then I will again have to come back. So you can help me.
All right, we have Liji Santosh who has said Enrich highway.
Enrich highway. Okay. Has he given any reason?
No, he has not given any reason.
All right, no problem. Then, so there's right now there are two people who want to go Enrich. Okay. Then
we have Aradhana Nautiyar who has also given
yes,
right, which is Enrich.
right, Enrich. Okay. Okay. So 3 Enrich. Okay. Remember, friends, our aim is to make ourselves future proof. Right now we have 3 people Enrich highway. So 3 right turns. Anybody else?
Sir, I'm Shabir. I'll choose the first one, that is Equip.
Okay. Why is that, Shabira?
Because in the since I'm working, I won't get much time for upgrading, that is getting new skills and all. So I think this time can be used for that. That is to learn new technologies, new skills and all. So I have been using this time for that also.
Okay. Okay. So you prefer to take a left turn on the Equip highway because you are wanting to use this time to learn new skills, and that will make you more future proof. Okay, ma'am. So your choice. So score is 3:1. 3 right turn, 1 left turn. Let's see anybody else. Anybody else would like to add to express your choice and give the reason? So you see, you cannot just stop in the road. You have to decide and take a left turn or a right turn. If you have any questions, I can answer, but you should take a decision and take a decision and go left or right.
So there is one more comment in the chat
Yes,
box.
yes. So where you tell me, Noman, what is it? Noman, what is the comment?
From Liji Santosh,
Yeah.
enrich highway because it's pandemic, so one should go inside.
Okay, one should go inside themselves. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It's a pandemic, so one should go inside. Okay.
There is another one, Hemant Kumar Taloju Karanam.
Okay.
Equip highway because to survive the competitive world, we need to adapt and develop our skills.
Very right. Very right. It's a competitive world. And if somebody acquires the skill that you don't have, and if the employer wants that skill, then that person will score over you. Okay, so the score is now 3,2. 3 for enrich and 2 for equip. Okay. Anybody else would like to add something? Okay, so this is a football match, and now there are only 10 seconds remaining. So right now the score is 3,2. So therefore we have to take a right turn. Unless somebody, yes.
4:2.
4:2. Okay, sorry, Naman. Thank you so much. 4:2. So that means 2 goals have to be scored very quickly. Otherwise, the match is decided in favor of Enrich Highway. Okay. All right. So I think the match is over. The score is 4,2 towards Enrich. So let's go ahead. So basically, if you want to take the Enrich Highway, where you want to purify your mind by controlling it, then first of all, you have to learn how to entangle the things in the mind and make it into without any knots. Okay. So you need to change the mindset, and for that you require an understanding of how the mind works. So what I will do is I will now attempt to take you to a small journey of trying to understand our mind. Okay, let's see how our mind works. Okay. So our mind basically consists of various sensors. Just like we have sensors which sense, we have a temperature sensor, we have a pressure sensor. So one sensor we have is taste, the other we have is hearing, the next is smell, the next is touch, the next is vision or seeing. But we also have a sixth sense. What is that sense? Can someone help me? Apart from taste, hearing, touching, seeing, on the chat window, 5:2. Very good. So score has increased. So our choice is correct. But can someone tell me what is the sixth sense of which all of us have, apart from taste and hearing and smelling and touching and seeing? A very important faculty we have which actually distinguishes us from the non-living things. Yes, anybody?
Extrasensory perception.
No. That is something which is not there with everybody. Some people have ESP, but that is extrasensory perception, but not all of us. All of us have something which is missing in this list. What is that? So if I ask you, I can say, as a human being, you can taste, you can hear, you can smell, you can touch, you can see, and what can you do? You can do what exactly you are doing right now. What are you doing right now? When I ask you this question, you are doing something. And that is thinking. Thinking. Correct? So all these 6 sensors are attached to us, attached to, you can say, our body or our mind. Okay. Now here I am going to use the body and mind together because it is very difficult to distribute body and mind. For us, body and mind actually are connected together in some ways. Because, for example, if you want to, for example, touch something, you need fingers. So that means that's part of the body, but body is connected to the mind through our nerves. Similarly, if you want to see, you need to have your eyes, which also are connected by the nerve to the brain. So it's all together. So all of us have these 6 senses. Now, what happens is that whenever there is some input on any of these sense doors, taste means your tongue, smell means your nose, hearing means your ears, etc., etc. Immediately what happens is, first you realize that there is something which has come on the door, and then immediately we start with what is called as an evaluation. The evaluation can be either positive or negative or neutral. Let me give you one example. Let's say you are opening a window and you see something. Now, the something that you see, you may not like it, and therefore you will have an evaluation that it is negative. Or you may see something that you like. So the sensory evaluation will be positive. This is good. Or you can see something which is very blank, which is very neutral. It's neither good nor bad. So that is neutral. Correct? So this is called as evaluation. This happens automatically. You can just test yourself. Any of your sense doors, you cannot, you cannot help it. It will be evaluation. It will be positive or negative, or it will be neutral. Now what happens is that when you go ahead, the moment there is evaluation, if there is a positive evaluation, then you have positive feelings in your mind, and in your body you start getting very positive and desirable or good sense. You feel good. You get good sensations in the body. You feel nice. And if on the other hand the evaluation is negative, then you get a negative evaluation. Let me give you an example. Example I can tell. Let us see the example of taste. So you pick up something and put in your tongue and start eating it. When you start tasting it, immediately you know that there is something on my tongue, and that something leads to an evaluation. Either you like it or you don't like it, or it is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's natural. It's not natural, but neutral. Okay. Now, if the evaluation is positive, negative, then some kind of feelings will be arising in your mind, and also there would be some senses that will arise. Okay, yeah, intuition, thinking. Sorry, I am not able to see the chat, friends. So I'm sorry, I will not be able to see the chat. So if you want to catch my attention, you will have to speak, because when I have the PPT in front of me, I don't have the chat window. Now, what happens is that if you, now as an outcome of your reaction, feelings or sensations, either you can go for what is called as a blind reaction, which all of us do naturally, or you can go for bare observation, which is not natural, which has to be cultivated. Most of us actually, we react to the feelings and sensations naturally. That is our nature. And unfortunately, that is the road that leads to misery. Whereas if we are able to go for bare observation, then that road is a road towards peace. Now, all this is sounding very good, and this is all very exciting, and this is all very interesting. But my problem is that blind reaction is our habit. It is natural. All of us do it. So that means all of us are going towards misery? No. If you develop the faculty of bare observation towards the feelings and the sensations that arise in your mind because of the evaluation of any of the cognitive inputs, if you acquire that particular ability or faculty, then you are walking along the path of peace. Okay. So the question is, it sounds very nice, but how to develop bare observation? Even if you agree on a theoretical platform that yes, it is good to have a bare observation, You may agree, you may not agree. I'll take your question very soon. But suppose you agree. Or maybe let us do like this. First of all, let us just take a break here and see. Are you okay with this observation, or do you have any contrary opinion? Do you agree with this, or do you think there is something wrong in this? So the floor is open for anyone to unmute themselves and to share their views. Do you agree with this particular working of the mind, or do you disagree?
Agree. We agree,
You
sir.
agree. Okay, you agree. Okay. So you agree that bare observation gives you peace, but you also definitely must be agreeing that it's not easy. It has to be developed. This faculty is not natural. It has to be worked upon. Okay. Anybody else who disagrees with this? Because many people feel that reaction is natural. How can we live in this world without reacting? Without reacting, how can we have motivation? Okay. So there are many people who have these doubts. So I thought I'll take them right now, but let's go ahead. At any point of time, friends, if you want to share something, feel free to interrupt, because as I said, this is not a lecture, this is an interactive session. Okay. Suppose I want to develop bare observation, then I have to learn a technique to look inwards. Because from the time we were born till today, we have always been looking outwards for reason and justification for our situation. So I am sitting in the room where the fan is working, and suppose the fan goes off. So I will start sweating. When I start sweating, I will start feeling uneasy. If somebody asks me, why are you uneasy? I will say, oh, I am uneasy because the fan has gone off. Then I will start cursing the electricity department. I am paying my bills in time. They charge so much of money in the bills, but look how much electricity they are giving. Look, when I'm giving a talk to the Malabar, group of IEEE, that time the fan is going away, and then I am very uneasy. So the reason for my misery is not me. The reason for my misery is outside me. This is what we have always been thinking. Why am I unhappy? Because I am poor, because I don't have a job, because I have lost one of my uncles due to COVID-19, because I can't go out to play with my friends. That is why I am uneasy. But friends, just wonder, there are many people like you who may have undergone worse situation than you, but they are not unhappy. They may be okay. Okay. So the reason is not because of what is happening outside. The reason is what is the response inside to what is happening from outside. We don't know this because no one has taught us how to look inwards. Second problem is we have to learn to live in the present. What we normally do is we either live in the past or we worry about the future. The future has not come today, but we are worried. What will happen? When the COVID-19 vaccine is released, it may take 1 year, it may take 2 years. Till that time, what will happen? Will I lose my job? Will I lose half my salary? Will my son get a job? Will my daughter get married? What will happen? I'm worried. Or in the past, oh, I wish when the lockdown started, I should have learned this technique. Oh, I wish I would have done that. Oh, I wish I would have invested money and got rich by now. So I wish I had done this, or I am worried about that. I'm not living in the present, whereas life is actually about the present. So if you learn a technique where you can learn to look inwards and to live in the present, then you can develop the faculty of bare observation. Also, just learning is not important or not enough. Learning is important, sorry, it's very important. Without learning, how will you try it out? But mere learning is not sufficient. You have to practice and practice and practice. Only then you will achieve the state of perfection. So, as was mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, this is not a talk about some theory from a professor of IIT. This is a talk about someone who wants to share with you a practical technique. So, are you ready to try out a technique? Shall we do it right now? Are you ready? Do you want to try a technique where you can learn bare observation? To look
Yes,
inwards?
we are ready, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Right. So what we'll do is we'll do it right now. Okay. Right now we'll do
Sure.
it. Now, let me tell you what the technique is. This technique is called as Anapanasati. That is the name of the technique. Now people are wondering, what is this Anapanasati? What language is this? Doesn't matter. This word has come from the ancient language of India called as Pali, P-A-L-I. In Pali, the word Ana means incoming, Apana means outgoing, and Sati means awareness. So therefore, Anapanasati means awareness of normal respiration or breath. Okay, normal breath. As it comes in naturally, as it goes out naturally. That is Anapanasati. Sati is awareness. So awareness of natural breath as it comes in naturally, as it goes out naturally, no force. Don't make your breath calm. Don't make it hard, nothing. Observe and be aware. Now I can understand some of you are wondering, this man talked about mind control, eventually mind purification. He talked about how the mind works, and now from mind he has gone to breath. Why breath? That is a fundamental question everybody has. Why breath? We are talking about the mind, but I have gone to breath. The reason for that, friends, is that breath is something that is always available to us day and night, morning and evening, Sunday and Monday, while you are sleeping, while you are awake. It is omnipresent, always available. So it is a tool which you have with you from the time you are born till the time you die. You will have breath with you. In fact, when you die, all of us will die one day. When you die, the doctor will decide whether you are alive or dead by observing your breath. If there is no breath for a finite time, they will say, sorry, no breathing, hence this person is dead. After 2 minutes, if you start breathing, they will say, no, 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 he's alive or she's alive. Secondly, more important, I think, is breath is universally acceptable. Nobody can object to breath. If I had said that we will try to control our mind using some word, maybe the word Anapanasati, then somebody will say, why Anapanasati? Why not some other word? Why not that word? Why not the word of my God or my saint or some leader? Why only that word? Secondly, suppose I say, okay, let us think of some image. Then you will say, okay, why that image? Why not this image? Will you show me image of Ganesha or Shankaracharya or Shivaji or whatever, any other god, maybe Jesus Christ. So the moment you look at any tool which is non-universal, there are division in society. Some people will say, we are not going to do it because in our religion we don't believe in that. But tell me, in which religion they say don't breathe? No one. So therefore, breath is perfectly acceptable and perfectly available. It is the ideal tool. Okay, it's a very good tool. But I think an important point is that our breath is directly connected to our mind. Just like a thermometer can measure the temperature, an ohm meter can measure the resistance. Similarly, the breath meter, which all of us are carrying, can directly measure the condition of our mind. So, if our mind is agitated, our breath is irregular. If our mind is calm, our breath is calm. Just think about it, observe it. Anytime you feel angry, jealous, frustrated, bored, your breath will become irregular. Anytime you feel relaxed, happy, satisfied, peaceful, quiet, your breath will also be calm. So, the way your breath is happening naturally is a direct indication of the state of your mind, and therefore, it's a very good way to acquire their observation faculty. Okay, now some of you are wondering, okay, he has now gone into some kind of a religious theory or some spiritual theory. I'm not interested in all this. I want to know, is there any benefit of this technique? So I will answer your questions right away. Studies have shown that regular practice of this particular technique helps to deal with fear, anxiety, and pressure. And those of you who are interested, I can happily share with you some even medical studies where under observation or with brain mapping or with electroencephalograms, people have identified that when you practice this kind of a technique, slowly and slowly you achieve a state of less fear, less anxiety, and less pressure. Secondly, it calms and relaxes the mind. Now, this is something which I'm making a statement right now. But after some time, when you practice this technique with me, you take a decision yourself. Did it really calm me or did it really relax my mind? And then you decide. I say that this technique allows one to experience happiness and peace even when there is misery around us. And for students, very important, it improves your concentration and memory, because that is what students are mostly worried nowadays. Will I remember something in the examination or in the interview? Will I have the concentration to study and learn something when I want to learn? Okay, so therefore, enough has been said. Let's go ahead now and let's do a practical trial. So I'm going to give you some very simple instructions. My only request to you is just follow these instructions and then let us see. Please sit down in any comfortable posture. You can be anything comfortable to you, just sit down. Okay, don't stand and don't lie down. You can sit on the floor or on the bed or on the chair. Like I'm sitting in a chair right now. Somebody may say, no, I'm comfortable on the floor. Somebody may say, no, I will sit on the bed. It's fine, but sit. Don't lie down and don't stand. Keep your back and neck straight. Not like this, but straight. Back and neck straight. Why? Because by keeping your back and neck straight, you remain alert. And when you remain alert, then you can follow instructions and then you can do things without falling asleep. And then I'm going to play a short audio file. Remember, I did a small trial of a music file. I'm going to play a similar file, short one, and that file will contain some instructions. My request to you is that please give a very scientific trial to this technique. Do not add anything from your side, saying that apart from the instructions which are given to me, let me add this because I know this helps, so it will make it better. Don't do that. Also, if you hear something that you don't like, don't say, I'm not going to do it. I don't like it. You say, anyway, what is the problem? Let me just give it a try. At the end of the practice session, if I don't like it, I will not follow it. But if I like it, at least I know that since I did not cancel anything or add anything, whatever I am feeling is only because of this technique. So give it a proper scientific trial. Very important. Do not add anything from your side. Do not delete anything from your side. Simply follow the instructions. And remember, the instructions are going to be very simple, nothing very dynamic. Nobody will ask you to run around and do anything great. You have to just sit down in a position calmly. The only thing they say is just be comfortable, keep your back and neck straight. That's all. Okay, are you ready? Should we start?
Yes, sir.
All of you? Yeah, take a comfortable position. And remember, even if you say, okay, I'm not interested, even if you say, I'm not interested to do this, I would say, okay, fine. If you're not interested, doesn't matter. You can either go outside the meeting, you can leave the meeting. Thank you so much for being here. Or you can say, let me listen. At least let me listen to what is happening. But if you do not do, then you are not going to get an experience. And then you will not be able to decide anything. Okay, so now I have instructions in two languages. I have instructions in English or I have instructions in Hindi. I have a feeling that most of you prefer to have instructions in English. Okay, because that is a common language which we are also speaking, and that is a language which most of you also understand. So my assumption is that you will understand the instructions and you will prefer it to be in English. But if there is a contradiction to this, this is the time for you to tell me. So if the majority of people say that I want to hear the instructions in Hindi, then I will play the Hindi file. If you say English, if you say Malayalam or Tamil, I'm sorry, I don't have the file right now. Files are available, but I don't have it right now. So you have only one choice, English or Hindi. So can someone help me on the chat window? You can type E
Sir,
or
all
H.
the students have been typing English.
Very good, very good. So that's fine. That suits me also because that particular file is ready and open with me. Right. Okay. So what I'll do, I'm going to stop this because it's better for me to. Are you able to hear it?
Yes, sir, but very slow.
Volume is low.
Yes, very low.
Okay, I'll increase the volume. Now listen, some instructions will be played. These instructions are going to be for maximum 10 minutes. For the first half a minute or 20 seconds, it may be blank and quiet, so don't worry. And in between, there may be some long pause. So do not feel that it is over. The whole thing is for about 10 minutes, okay? So I'm going to play it now again. Just follow the instructions. And Navanuddin, if there is a problem with the audio, just tell me. I'm playing it. But what I would like to do is I would like to play it and then okay, so I'll share the screen directly. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so if you are ready, then I will share the screen and I will all right, I'm going to share it now, and now you are going to see a small. There is no video, only audio. So I'm playing it now, okay? Started.
Now let us practice Anapana for about 10 minutes. Practice Anapana. Sit comfortably. Comfortably in any posture that suits you. Keep your back and your neck straight. Keep your eyes gently closed. Those who wear spectacles should take off their spectacles during meditation period. Keep your mouth gently closed and focus your entire attention on the area at the entrance of the nostrils. The area at the entrance of the nostrils. And remain aware. Remain aware of every breath coming in, every breath going out. Natural breath, normal breath, as it is, as it is. If it is long, it is long. If it is short, it is short. Passing through left nostril, passing through right nostril, or through both the nostrils, both the nostrils. Just remain aware, do nothing. Just remain aware. Alert, attentive, vigilant. Remain alert, attentive, vigilant. Constantly aware of the breath, the incoming breath, the outgoing breath, incoming breath, outgoing breath. Keep your attention steadfastly fixed on this area, the entrance of the nostrils. Like a gatekeeper, like a watchman, aware of every breath entering the nostrils, aware of every breath moving out of the nostrils. Alert, attentive, vigilant.
Okay, so this practical trial is over. Now I want to open the screen for some people to give their feedback on how they feel after this trial. So you can either respond on the chat window, or you can also unmute yourself and speak. Both the options are available. I will stop the sharing and open the floor
We
for.
have some comments in the chat section.
Right. Okay. Anjana has raised her hand, so we can probably ask her to speak. Yes, Anjana. We have one feedback from Liji Santosh that there is a paracetamol effect. So Liji, can you explain what do you mean by paracetamol effect?
So I felt that like when you have fever, for some time you feel very relaxed when you take a paracetamol. And later on, if you don't continue this, then I don't think it is going to have the same effect forever. It's a small test. So like a paracetamol, I felt when I take a paracetamol, my disease is normal. And later
Okay.
on again, it will come back.
Okay. All right. Anybody else would like to comment? Hemant Kumar says, I was able to concentrate about one thing effectively, which is required for anything we do. Okay, Hemant, that is your experience. Anybody else would like to share their experience? So we are all different people, so our experiences also differ. The floor is open. I am still waiting for people to give their feedback. Shabira says, feeling relaxed. Okay. Aradhana Nodial, no thoughts at all means. Is that a question, Aradhana, or is it a comment? If it is a question, then what I want to clarify is that when you are without any thoughts, that is a state of mind when you are at a very blissful state of mind, when there are no questions in your mind. Muhammad Suhail is feeling excited. Okay. Anybody else?
So, may I?
Yes, please.
So why it's feeling very relaxed while saying that three words, alert and something, some animal's face came in my mind.
Okay. Okay, that was Kavya, I think. Okay, Kavya, thank you.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
and yeah, okay. So thank you for sharing your views. And then Kaustubh Biswas says, I feel calm and relaxed. Okay. Hemlal Bhattarai from Bhutan says, more relaxed and being too present. Okay. Anybody else? The floor is open. So did anybody feel uneasy or angry or upset? Did anybody had any negative feelings during those 10 minutes of Anapanasati? I mean, did it harm anybody or did it trouble anybody? Did anybody get a headache or some tingling feeling in the head, feeling relaxed and calm, more attentive. Kirti says no sir, and Nai was comfortable. Kaustubh was no sir. Okay, right. So therefore what we will do now is let's go ahead and decide now what to do after it, because you have basically been exposed to a particular technique. But I must tell you one thing, that you have not learned anything today. Do not be under the wrong impression that you have learned the technique of Anapanasati. No. All you have done today is just got a very brief 10-minute exposure. If you want to learn this technique, if you really want to understand the benefits, if you really want to get a proper idea, then you have to register for a free online session. I call it as a practice session. Actually, they teach you this technique properly. The sessions are held morning 8 o'clock and evening 7:30 p.m. every day. But during the weekends, there is an afternoon session which is only in English, 2:30 in the afternoon on Saturday and Sunday. The session in the morning and evening is in English and Hindi combined, both the languages. Instructions are given in both the languages, but on a weekend afternoon, it is only in English. And you just cannot join the session without registration. You have to register at this particular website, which I am going to also copy and paste in the chat window. Now, some people have this question that this method that you are talking about, and you are a professor in IIT Bombay, you are supposed to be a technologist, you have spent more than 30 years in IIT Bombay teaching. Is this a scientific method? That is a question that many people always ask me at the end of this session. Why are you, as a professor of IIT Bombay, talking about this method? They start wondering, is it religious? Is it some cult or some kind of a, I don't know what to call it, some kind of a group of people? No. So first understand what is meant by a scientific method. A scientific method is a method which can be subjected to scrutiny and subjected to verification. One of our very great scientists of ancient times, he made a very interesting statement, and I'm going to show you that statement now. What did he say? He used to go around and give talks, and he used to explain this method to many people. He is the person who actually rediscovered this method and gave it to people. But he used to say, don't believe in anything. Don't believe in anything just because it is heard by you, just because it is spoken and rumored by many people, just because it is written in your books, just because it is mentioned by your teachers or your elders, just because it is a tradition which is coming from several generations. Don't believe in anything just because of this. Okay. So what should you do? You should observe, you should analyze, and then you should believe only if it meets certain filters. Does it agree with reason? Does it become conducive to the good and benefit of all? These are the two main filters. Okay. Only then accept it and live up to it. Do not do it just because some professor from IIT Bombay has made a big statement in a webinar or in a lecture, that's what I should believe it. Or just because some senior person says, believe me, I'm an old person, listen to me. No, don't. Observe, analyze, and believe only if it agrees with your reason and if it is conducive to good and benefit of all. This particular statement has come from Gautama the Buddha, and he mentioned this in the form of a sutra called as a Kalam Sutra, which is mentioned in this particular textbook. Okay, so this method which you have today got exposure to is a scientific method which has been propounded by Gautam Buddha. But this is not Buddhism. This is not religion. This is not the Buddhist sectarianism. No, far from it. There is no religion in breath. Breath is universal. Breath is same for Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or for a Parsi or a Jain. Whether you are a believer or an atheist, doesn't matter. You still breathe, and for you also the breath is a meter. So before I end, I want to just give you today's takeaway in the form of a series of cartoons. A conversation between a wise duck and a modern man. The modern man is very much worried with the COVID-19 pandemic because he says the world is changing. The bird says, don't worry, it's always changing. The man says our lives are in danger. We are in a lockdown. The wise duck says, don't worry, life is always dangerous. We were never free. Our man is concerned that many of us could die. The bird says, don't worry, all of us are in a line for death only. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Yes. And that is the thing. That is the reality of life. Nobody knows what is going to happen. Nobody ever knows what's going to happen. That is what makes the lives interesting. We don't know what to believe anymore because there are so many messages on WhatsApp. There are so many forwards which come on Telegram. There are so many emails. There are news, news. We just can't believe the news. Okay, someone called Dayabha Shiram has raised the hand. So would you like to just wait till I finish the last one, or would you like to ask a question right now? Maybe I'll just finish it off. And finally, our man says that we are living in strange times, but our bird says that was always the case. So friends, this is what is the message I wanted to share with you. Now I'm open to the question, and this person who raised the hand just now can unmute and speak. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Anybody? Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yes.
How are you, sir?
All fine.
Hello.
Yes. Do you have any point, or do you want to ask something?
I think the last one is a very nice clip for the time.
Yeah. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. If you want, you can take a picture of this because I'll keep it for some time. Maybe you can take a photo.
Yes.
You can use your mobile phones and take a picture of this particular cartoon.
Yeah, because of law. So overall, the session will be having explained within the one.
Exactly. You got it. This whole, whatever we discussed is explained in this one cartoon. And look at how intelligent the bird is compared to us human beings.
Very nice one, sir. Because of it's funny, but we'll be having it's a nature. We have to face these situations.
Correct.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for
So I'll be open for some more questions if there are any questions.
Sir, we have another question in the chat section.
Yes, ma'am.
By Miss Shabira TP.
Yeah.
She has asked, some people say listening to music or singing is better to avoid anxiety. What is your opinion on it?
Yes, it does. Listening to music is a very fantastic way of avoiding anxiety. But what you do is when you listen to music, what you do is you temporarily take your mind away from the problem that you are facing and you divert your mind towards music, and it is very calming and relaxing. I also love to listen to music when I'm working. See, these days, most of us are working from home. So therefore a lot of, and we don't have our maid servant coming. So I help at home with a few things. And that time, these are routine things. So I always put music in my ears and just do my work. It's very calming. But remember one thing, music is a very good thing, but it is temporary. It may linger for some time, but it is a way of diverting your mind. But remember that there is something called as a subconscious mind, which is difficult to divert. The conscious mind can be diverted by chanting, or by music, or by any other activity that you do forcibly, by running and jogging and exercising, etc. You can divert your superficial mind. Unfortunately, the basic mind cannot be diverted. It reacts to the inputs. So when you learn breath, when you learn to observe your breath as a habit, then you don't react so much to the inputs. And if you don't react so much, then you actually have a very calming and peaceful life. So yes, the answer is music definitely helps.
जितना कम react करोगे life उतना अच्छा रहेगा.
So nicely said, ma'am. I'm so happy that you have summarized what I have tried to explain to you. Okay, any other point anybody would like to make? Yes, please.
Sir, we have another question in the chat section.
Right. What is it?
From Hemlal Bhattarai, Bhutan. Is anxiety related to mental health issues?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. See, anxiety, what I'll do is I'll stop the share so that I can actually see the chat windows. Yes. So definitely the anxiety is related to mental health issues. When you are having a mental health issue, you actually okay, I think people have to mute themselves. Okay, I'll have to mute everybody if possible. Okay, sorry about it, because disturbance is coming. So yes, the answer is that the anxiety is definitely collected, but anxiety is a normal human reaction also. Since we are normally we are anxious because we don't live in the present. We either live in the past or in the future, and we get easily affected. Aradhana says that thanks for sharing the technique. Practice is more important than learning. Perfect. But remember, you have not learned anything so far. I'm sorry to say that, Aradhana. What you have got is like watching a movie. You just you have a trailer. Okay. So if you want to learn, please. I'm just giving the site on the chat window. Do not think that you have learned something and you can start practicing. No, you will not benefit much, and then you will say the method is useless. If you want to go further, if you want to learn the method, kindly register. It is free of cost. It is happening every day. It is in English and Hindi, and you will also get the information in Malayalam and other languages if you are interested. Okay, there are centers everywhere where this method is taught, but nowadays there's no center required. Now everything is online. Kavya wants to ask me whether is Anapanasati related to yoga. Okay, yes and no. In yoga, currently we learn about pranayam, and pranayam is a technique in which you make your breath you control your breath. Okay, so it's very good for the body. It's very good for losing weight. It is very good for general health, etc. But this is nothing to do with the body. This is the exercise for the mind. Okay, so if you are practicing pranayam, I would suggest you do this technique with some half an hour gap so that there is no mixing between the two. Mixing will not help you. Mixing is going to be a problem. Any other question? So people can raise their hands or you can mention. Kirti has a very good question. How can I stop anxiety from affecting my studies? Kirti, the only answer I can give you is to learn this technique properly, and automatically you will come to a stage of less anxiety. And when your anxiety becomes less, immediately it will show in the form of improved concentration, better memory, and your studies will also be positively affected. Shubham Soni, though I listened you earlier, but this time you also rocks. Every time you make changes, which is the beauty of knowledge. Okay, Shubham, thank you. Madhu, sir, many people complain about not getting good sleep. Yes, will this helpful for getting? Exactly. This is a wonderful technique for those people who are facing problems of sleep. Actually, why don't you sleep? You don't sleep because your mind is not at rest. When mind is not at rest, then you are continuously worrying, continuously flittering from here to there, etc. So when you learn this technique, they will also teach you how to use this technique just before your sleep so that you can acquire a very good sleep. Okay. So yes, the answer is definitely it will help people, those who are having sleep problems. There are many people I know, many friends, many relatives who have been able to overcome the problem of not being able to sleep or not getting a peaceful sleep, disturbed sleep by practicing Anapanasati. Definitely it will improve. I am talking from my personal experience, but don't believe me. As I said, it's a scientific method. Try it out, learn it properly, try it out. If it doesn't benefit you, you can tell, sir, it doesn't benefit. But if it benefits you, then like me, you will also talk about it to so many people. Okay, I think there are no more questions. If there are no more questions, then I would like to thank the Malabar section of IEEE to allow me to share my thoughts today with you. It was a wonderful session. People have participated very well, and I could get the vibe that most of you have given it a very scientific trial. So if you have felt even 2 minutes or 3 minutes of peace in those 10 minutes, I will urge you to try out the technique by registering to this site. Remember, the whole thing is free. There is no commercial business in this. We are not earning any money or any benefit out of teaching you or spreading the message. Our only earning is the goodwill to, because we have benefited, because we have learned, we are interested to spread the message to other people. This is a completely non-commercial activity from the ancient Indian times. It has always been happening without any business. See, there is a requirement that there should be a lot of spirituality in business, but no business in spirituality. Today, we have made spirituality a business, and that is why it has become so horrible. And there are so many people who are doing all kinds of illegal and harmful things in the name of religion and in spirituality. Okay, so with that, I would like to hand over the control back to the organizers, Dr. Sabik, Deena, if they want to close down. Thank you so much. I'm going to mute myself now. Thanks a lot.
Rajkumar sir, it has been an absolute honor and privilege to have you here. Thank you so much, sir, for your cross-dimensional perspective on such a sensitive topic such as this. Your words will surely help us during this difficult and trying times. On behalf of IEEE Malabar subsection and IEEE Malabar Hub, I once again extend my sincere gratitude to Professor Rajkumar Espand for taking a big chunk out of his very busy schedule to enlighten us with his words of wisdom. Thank you so much, sir, for your illuminating session. To all the participants, thank you so much for being regular members of our webinar series. We hope this session has powered up your insights and that you would be able to cope up with anything that life might bring upon you. And with this, we shall now conclude our session. Thank you everyone for your spirited participation. To the attention of all participants, a feedback form has been shared in the comment section. Please fill it up to avail your certificates. And with this, we shall now conclude our session. Thank you everyone for your spirited participation. You may now leave the meeting room.